Yeah, we never get those harpies, and it's the wrong time of the day again, isn't it? After 3:30, monsters stop showing up as much with random encounters, and the monsters that spawn in everywhere just stop completely. That is what we did, right? That's not the time I wanted it to go at, so we definitely got the time wrong on that. In the process of making a mod that changes when monsters show up in the world. I saw that. I want it from dusk till dawn. Which that seems to be what we've done. The problem is dusk and dawn in the game doesn't match when dusk and dawn is in real life.
Do you believe humanoids have a monopoly on destroying worlds?
That's bugging me. We're gonna have to change that because 3:30 in game and there is a sunrise. In the deep north. We get sunrise around 9 here and sunset around 3. 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're not considered very far north.
At last.
Quebec's above us. And Quebec's lower Canada. So I'm having issues with the games. It being in the deep north and the sunset is rising at 3:30 down. We're gonna have to fix that. That's gonna have to move up to be a higher priority mod to make because it is bugging me a lot. That mod I was working on yesterday's stream. Last night? Yeah. Yeah, I ended up not playing the game at all. I was just working on that. That's got 2,281 files. Not sure if we found all of them or not. Trying to edit the .fx file, the letter F, the letter X, .fx. We've got some of them fixed the way I want them, but because there's so many of them, it's going to take a while. Changing the way the special effects like this glowy Quen, that Quen, which as you can see I've already changed both of those since Quen's orange in the vanilla game.
This does concern me. These are my friends.
Yeah, Erden, special effects, all the effects, which includes snowflakes, which we seem to have better. It was bothering me that the snowflakes are like snowballs coming down. Snow doesn't look like that. The game developers are in Poland. They should know what snow looks like. Snow doesn't look like that. also changed some of the lightning files, so our lightning visual effects should be different now. Archispores. Changed Archispores visual effects as well. This was working on it last night. The acid spit that they throw. Changed the effect on that. And I did more work on Ozlok's visual effect with the fire because that still isn't the way I want it here. It looks much better than the vanilla game, but it's still not the way I want it. But I ended up working on that all night. So that's why I never got back home. I did that until I fell asleep, and then I just got up. And I get up. I haven't been up long. I didn't look at the clock. I don't know what time it was when I got up. Can't have been more than an hour then. I think we finally got the grass the way we wanted it. Been tweaking the grass for weeks now. It was annoying me that we always either had short grass that looked like a lawnmower had cut it short, or tall grass that looked like a lawnmower had cut it tall. And now the grass is uneven, like reality. Some of it's short, some of it's medium, some of it's tall, all over the place. I did it to be pushed for that. I forgot how to get it to do it. That was the problem. I forgot how to get it to do it. Once I figured out how you edit the VBrush, it's not hard at all. I just didn't know how to do it. Grass near water still is not growing correctly. Gotta work on that stuff. Also, the white wolves are having issues with their fur, which I didn't notice until we spawned them in, but you can see the points of the 3D model, the mesh. You can actually see them through their fur. There's a bear over there. Let's continue past the bear. We don't need to fight with bear. Also, I was working on changing bear and wolf behavior tree last night. I don't think I've got it doing what I want it to do yet, because we haven't seen a bear or a wolf attack us. So those two bears over there just didn't attack us just now, didn't they? They just did their own thing.
Lifted the curse.
So maybe we did that right? I don't think I did enough to it to make it do what I want to do yet. That mod is already installed. I did already put it in. Because I have it in the game while I'm making it, so that I can turn the game on and see the changes, but I didn't check for any changes on it yet, since I just started working on it. Oh, we gotta check merchants. That's right, we gotta check merchants. I think, I'm not positive, I think we fixed that error with the swords. Where we keep having these swords that nobody can buy because it says it wants to charge 54 million coins to buy, sell, or repair it. I know what mod was causing the problem, I just hadn't fixed it. It wasn't an issue, it's becoming an issue lately. It's becoming an issue now that we have collected enough of those swords that we can't sell. And they're causing us to have over encumbrance a lot. They're just weighing us down too much. And we can't sell them. It wasn't affecting every sword. That was the thing. It wasn't affecting all of them. Why? You should be able to do that when you're on the horse. Which one is that? One of the mutations just triggered. You're not a travel companion.
Why
Okay.
not?
I wasn't expecting that wolf to attack. That's the problem with having monsters, enemies as travel companions. When the actual enemy shows up, you don't recognize it. I hear a wraith. Are you a moon wraith? That's not like a moon. Also, why are you doing Oxy? Don't do Oxy. Oxy doesn't do anything but kill us. Killed right now. We don't have the right one for that. What do we have? Right, we switched everything around and we switched it all back. Oh yeah, that's not it. That we don't have the we don't have the ones that have the oxide that are useful. I'm not sure if I want to do more work on the trees or not. I like the trees the way we got them right now.
Do you see him here? I left him a letter. We'll rejoin him in Novigrad.
I swapped out the texture files and billboards of the trees with actual photos of the pine trees in my yard. So that the pine needles and the leaf bark and all that stuff, it's the actual colors of actual pine trees now, as opposed to that weird bright green that was just a digital color and not a shade of green you see in the wild in actual trees. It was annoying me. Everything's annoying. Stuff like that doesn't bother me in games like Don't Starve, where it's like everything's cartoony looking, so you don't expect anything to look real. But in this game, they went out of their way to make so many things so real. And then to have one or two things stand out as, oh wow, does that look fake? Amongst everything else that looks so real. Those things bother me. That's why the things we're fixing, like the trees, Also, the grass. I used photos of grass. I removed the original texture files for the grass, which were like paint drawings. That's all they were. So now we have actual photographs of grass. That's why the grass is a different... It's not that weird, bright green that it is in the vanilla game, and now it's like shades of various dirty greens and browns. Because it's actual pictures of grass from the swamp that gets in behind my backyard. The Edwall swamp. You see a lot of odds happening there. That's the boat we were just swimming at yesterday, isn't it? Is it? Have we come all the way around? It is the boat. Okay. We've gone all the way around from where we were yesterday. We were over there looking over here. Now we're over here looking over there. Which is something ironic for most people, since most people it takes what, 5 seconds to get from one place to the other in this game. Used fast travel a lot my first blind playthrough. Then I went back and replayed the game. We started using it less and less. This is my second playthrough with no fast travel at all.
My intuition was correct. This will be interesting.
Is that going to affect the Avallac'h and Endricus? Yeah, I don't know. It might. I guess we'll find out in a few minutes as Avallac'h and Endricus up ahead of us. They're always there, so we'll find out if they're there or not. Yeah, the hen's getting high. Are there wolves over there scaring kills? Is that what's going on? It is, isn't it? There's 2 wolves over there going around in a circle. I was wondering what was scaring cows. Everything scares cows. He's lore friendly to the male elves. Why are any of the other male elves? All the male elves were whimpering cowards. Every single damn one of them. They all were. That's something Ciri pointed out. The fact that the women were all warriors and they were all vicious and they were ready to kill everything, and She said the men sat around like peacocks. None of them were fighters. Not even Aridin. Oh, the changes in the gameplay to Aridin is the most laughable. Guy with no ambition at all. If he was a human, he'd be a beer-belly beer guzzler sitting in front of the Super Bowl year round.
Hates me so deeply.
So damn
Why
lazy.
didn't he tell me to my face?
I was shocked. I think that was the character that shocked me most when I read the novels, and I'm like, this is really Aridin? Good God. How did they take this and turn it into what we saw in the game? How is he different in the novels? He's not even a bad guy. Not only is he not a villain, he's not even a bad guy. Why'd they make him evil in the game? Avallac'h's 10 times more eviler than he is in the novels. You could barely classify Avallac'h as evil in the novels. The novels only call him evil because he's not circumcised and the author was Jewish. That's it. Why do you call somebody evil for that reason? How is that a reason to call somebody evil? I don't get that. Bizarre. Isn't there another box around here somewhere? Or am I thinking of someplace else?
True, but she also needs training.
Why are you
must
sinking
learn
in the
to control her
rocks?
abilities.
You're also sinking in the rocks. There's usually sirens all over the place here, so we've definitely got okay. Cute. Okay, so we definitely got the monsters not being out in daytime working, but it's working too well. It's not working the way I want it to work, so we need to make changes to it, but you know, there's a lot of bucksarn up there, isn't there? We're not far from the area where there's a bunch of it. These plants, these are the ones, these are wrong still. We have to fix these. These are completely not doing what I want them to do. That's not what they look like in the vanilla game either. Also, we modded them, but there's the changes I made, they're not doing what I wanted them to do, so we have to make more changes to make them right. And we have the hornwort bug fixed. The hornwort and the fool's parsley. That's a bug in the vanilla game. I should upload that mod because we've got that working. They don't respawn, they're supposed to respawn. There's a place where the code is broken, that's why they weren't respawning, and I found it the other day. Why were you taking stuff? He just randomly started taking potions.
I detect a shadow of
He does when something's attacking him?
So what brings you here?
Yes. What do you take it? I don't know what you're taking. He just takes potions at random. What is that? Can't remember which one it is now. Metamorphosis? Yes, it's metamorphosis. Activates a random decoction. The ability to have all of those active at once. That's slots. We've had that mod since way back. I've been using that long before I started making mods. That's one of the early mods when I first started using mods. Started using that back. Second playthrough when I was still playing as Carol. We haven't had that off since the first playing playthrough, have we? It's the only time we didn't use it. You deal better. Are those rat fiends? What are we seeing up there? Those drowners? They look like drowners.
Incidentally, interesting choice of allies. Do you think Avallac'h is honest with you? Just curious.
Just curious. Just curious. Have you read the novels? You know, Avallac'h can't tell a lie. You know, anyone who has read the novels should be able to get in Avallac'h We Trust. How is that the most difficult to get achievement in the entire game? How? If you've read the novels, you know he can't tell a lie. Even when he's trying to tell a lie, he can't tell a lie. He absolutely is completely, totally incapable of telling a lie. He must always tell the truth. He tries to tell a lie, he's gonna say the truth anyways. He can't lie. There's a spell cast on him. The whole reason he is the most powerful mage in the universe. He hasn't told a lie in over 2,000 years.
It's beautiful.
As long as he continues to never tell a lie, he continues to become more and more powerful. Why? Drowners up here. Oh, you are thirsty. You can't. You're not. Get rid. He's having it. We're losing control of him here. Try that again. No. If you've read the novels, you know not to pick any of the options that assume he's telling a lie. And that's all you gotta do to get that achievement. It really is all you gotta do. Is that the last one? That counts. And it really is all Gil's asking when he says that, too. Do you think Avallac'h is honest? Just curious. Have you read the novels? Just curious. That's all that question is. And game developers asking you, have you read the novels? The funny thing is, it triggers reverse psychology in people who haven't read the novels, and for some reason even people who have read the novels and forgot. Because as soon as they hear Gil's ask that question, their mind immediately goes, oh, we must not be able to trust him. Now it's a trick question. The game developers want to know, did you read the novels? Did you remember he can't tell a lie? And because of that one question, by the time you get to the end of the game, 91% of all people who play the game are screaming, kill Avallac'h at the end. And they're like, why can't I kill him? Because he didn't do anything. All of the... well, he must have done this and that and all this other stuff that he must have done is you and your morbid imagination thinking he must have done things because Gil's asked that one question. That's it. Kid tells me people are paranoid all the time. I mean, that really is paranoid. That's all that is. One character in a game asks you a question, and you spend the next 50 hours playing the game, running that question over your head. Why can't we trust him? What did he do? Why can't we trust him? That's to the point that you hate him by the time you get to the end of the game. And there was no basis in any of it other than you're in paranoia. I have recorded now more than 500 streamers running up the tower, screaming at the top of their lungs,
Silence.
kill Avallac'h.
It's
I need to
completely
make a
still.
montage. It's just called Kill Avallac'h, and it's just that. People screaming Kill Avallac'h as they run up to the tower. That's the reason I record it every time people start doing it. so damn often. It's hysterical. And even more hysterical is the mobs of Ciri fans that show up in my chat, which is why I had to turn chat off. Who show up here and their first thing out of their mouths is, "You're pissing me off! Why do you hate Ciri? You must hate Ciri! You're playing as Avallac'h!" I never had a reason to hate Ciri until I wanted to wring the necks of every Ciri fan. Oh, so many people that they like that's their first thing out of their mouth. "You pissed me off. I'm a Ciri fan." Okay. I've had more than 7,000 people say that now. That's a lot of people. Ciri fans just like to be pissed off. I don't know, what are they getting pissed off about? That's the other thing. What the? How am I pissing off Ciri fans?
I can't say just
I
yet,
don't get it.
but I'm not willing to rule it out.
I mean, if you're pissed off because I'm playing the game as Avallac'h, boy, don't read the novels and find out Ciri's married to him. Because that's the whole reason I have her traveling with him. God, these people. Idiots. You know it's a game, right? I don't think they do. I wonder about these people who get so upset and like, it's a fucking game. Why are you having a fit? What is wrong with you people? Immaturity, I think, is what you would classify it as. Half the time, though, it looks like they're just people looking for something to fight about. You know, it takes two to fight, and if you want to fight, I don't need to fight with you, so hey, just turn chat off, and you know you can turn whisper messages off too, because hey, now you can't whisper message with either. I've had people sending me messages on Facebook and say, "I sent you a whisper message and you never answered me." Oh, I turned whisper messages off months ago. You can still send them to me, but I don't get them. They just, who knows where they go.
How did you fare on Bald Mountain?
I've no interest in fighting with the Ciri fans. You want to be pissed off, go be pissed off by yourself. That's the whole reason I don't play Undertale. Same thing. Alright, Undertale's another of my favorite games, but I ain't gonna stream that. Boy. Oh. The Undertale fans are crazy. Let me see up there. Lots of wolves. Is it our wolves fighting with other wolves? I think it is. Oh yeah. Yep, that's what it is. Okay. Is it only wolves? That is a lot of wolves. There must be more than one pack. There's usually 5 wolves in a pack. It's usually 1 elf and 3 followers. One elf and 4 followers. What is it? I think it can spawn in up to 3 packs per spawn point, though, right? Is that what it said? So that would be up to 15 wolves. Yeah, you could have up to 15 wolves at a time. Also, it is getting very windy out there. Good gale winds coming in, it sounds like. Live right on the ocean.
We shall return to this later.
We're also in a flood zone. And we're supposedly having a blizzard, except it's about 40 degrees, so it's pouring rain out there instead of snow. Weird weather we are having this winter. I can't remember ever seeing a winter where we get so much rain before. Flooding's been bad this year. Roads closed right 1 house over from us. Big sinkhole opened up over there. So the base game monsters no longer spawning in the daytime, which we seem to have working. The only monsters we would have in the daytime from this point on should be just random encounters. Also, these leaves that are floating by, that's one of the things I just changed last night. That mod that I was making, the .fx files, that's one of them. Wrong button. That's there it is. That means we can increase daytime frequency for random encounters. Problem was, we were having way too many daytime attacks. Because we had the daytime attacks that are in the vanilla game. And we had random encounters, and it was just way too much. But now we have the vanilla game is no longer spawning in monsters in the daytime. So we can go with only random encounters monsters spawning in the daytime. And then we have random encounters is increased at nighttime. And the monsters in the vanilla game spawning in as normal at nighttime. So heightened attacks at night, almost no attacks in the day is what we're going for. We don't want attacks completely gone in the day. That's the thing I'm having trouble with. Because the way it's coded, the spawn tree spawns at a minimum maximum. If you remove the minimum maximum, they spawn 24 hours. But I don't want them gone completely, I just want them less frequent.
Supposed to?
So we've got it working somewhat for now, but it's not working the way I want it yet. So we gotta keep working on it. I can adjust each individual monster. So, like, we can have night wraiths only show up between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. so they only show up at midnight. And we could do the same thing with noon wraiths in the daytime. So they only show up at noon. Other than the random encounters mod code, or unless you do something like that, there's no way to get it so the monsters randomize in the daytime. There we go. Okay. As I said, we only had 2 pounds, and we just saw it there. We were 2 pounds away from being over. We're almost at Camille, so we can just go there. So we can carry almost no pounds. That's more than I have him set to be able to carry. Why is it going up like that? He should be able to carry 500 pounds.
I'd even call it a secret.
We see him in the game carrying Ciri. I don't think he should be able to. Not the way he was described in the novels. You do see that he's having a hard time with it. They do show that. It didn't take much for him to pass out. He passed out really easy in the novels. Well, there goes our weight. Why?
Don't treat me like a child.
Why? There you go. Yeah, there's this guy that's standing up here. Halftime, he's laying here asleep. Mm-hmm. Avallac'h when he stands next to another character. Geralt's taller than almost all of the NPCs. Avallac'h's quite a bit shorter than him. He is a lot shorter than Geralt. You notice that if you try to put one of the, like, the professor glasses or something on him, and they'll load up hovering over his head, you can see how tall Geralt is. Which is weird because he was 7'3" in the novels. He was one of the taller characters. And they've got him only about an inch taller than Ciri. Him and Ciri are almost the same height in the game. saying? It's not Witcher fans in general that do these wild, crazy spells. It's just Ciri fans. Most people who are fans of the game are fans of Geralt. You'll see them acting like that.
At Eridan's behest, to order the crones to keep their eyes open and ears pricked. In case
But the bulk of it appears to be hyped up, sex-crazed men who desperately in need of a girlfriend, and they believe Ciri is their wife, so they've gone nuts.
Damn it.
What are you gonna do? I don't want to do this. I'm back. That was the same problem with that other game, Dream Daddy, which is another game you're probably never going to see me stream, just because of the fans. Most people who are fans of that game are fine. It's just one character, Damien. Fans of Damien go psychotic. It's bizarre. If you don't play the Damien path, they're gonna jump down your throat and go psychotically crazy in your chat. But then if you do the Damien path, you better do it exactly the way they tell you to do it. Oh boy, are they gonna go even more crazy. Wow. It's up there with Undertale and Five Nights at Freddy and Homestruck for one of the games you want to run screaming from if you want to stream games that don't attract trolls. Damien's the transgender character. For some reason, that caused a huge amount of controversy. And again, hyped up men are the problem. I have seen so many people who are fans of Dream Daddy who go into these psycho crazies and they're like, oh, well, Damien's transgender, so that's actually a female. And well, that's so hot. Oh, I know so many transgender people in real life who would probably want to just punch out half of Damien's fans. Again, sex crazy fans are always what it boils down to. When you get down to the ones that are really, really, really wild, crazy fans that cause problems, it's always sex crazy men. Always. Yeah, even with Undertale. Again. That's the same thing you run into. It was, Baby? And the ballerina. Oh, what's the ballerina's name? Is that Belle? Wait. Can't remember. They're the ones that caused problems in Five Nights at Freddy. Oh look, the female characters. Chica. You gotta see how crazy fans can get over those characters. Look at those characters in the original game. Then search for fan art. What the hell? That is the furry community. Ah. I like most of the furry community. I hang out with real life furries. But some of the furries you encounter online, boy, they want to make you run screaming from them. Furries fall into two categories.
Do you believe humanoids have a monopoly
People
on
who do the
destroying
actual furry movement, and sex crazy perverts who are just, I don't know what you call them, into bestiality? I got some issues. Real bad. It's the same thing you see with otherkin. Actual otherkin. And these people that make you go, what the fuck? Clearly they don't know what otherkin is, and those are the ones you see on Tumblr. The Tumblr version of otherkin is not what otherkin actually is. Boy, is it not. That's one of those things where you can see that it was clearly people on the internet found out about something and they weren't part of it, so they didn't know what it actually was, so they went wild with it. Because otherkin has been around since the 70s. And yet, you're going to find most people on Tumblr are going to tell you, oh, otherkin's this new movement. No, it was founded in 1978 by a group known as the Silver Elves. Look them up.
But he looks more serious. More grave.
It's a religion. The original otherkin, it was a religion. Actual religion, you know, go to church and worship something. That's what otherkin was when it started in 1978. Silver Elves is still around. They're an extremely radical fringe religion, but they are the founders of otherkin. And then you go to Tumblr in recent years and you're like, how did this over here in the 1970s, which was basically a hippie compound, turn into this over here on Tumblr? Wow, does the internet make things that weren't that weird to begin with become incredibly weird? Otherkin gets its name from other dimensional beings. Elves, Elfar, Pleiadians, fairies, alien greys. Those are the Otherkin. Creatures generally accepted to be real and in an alternate dimension. Angels are also Otherkin. Jesus, Mother Mary. Those are all Otherkin. Other dimensional beings.
At times, one must use reason rather than blades.
Boy, is that not what Tumblr tells you it is. I've been in the Otherkin movement for almost 50 years. So, to see what the internet did with it, I'm like, wow. Boy, do these people know how to take something and turn it on its head and make it be something completely not what it is.
Icy breath, frost gripped the air itself. Ice clenched each heart. The village froze like in the heart of winter. If you'd have heard the cries, sir, if you'd have heard how
There's
a
that
man can
red
scream.
lacquer armor like samurai wear.
Which,
That's why they were called the Red Riders. Also, where are their dragons?
You saw what happened.
Which is also
Only you
why
and
they were
I
called
truly know what
Red
all of us will
Riders.
soon face.
The wild hound
They
don't
wore
know
red
I found
lacquer.
her when I do.
They rode on red
They'll
dragons.
attack. Well,
So much
I'm
red
not going to
lacquer
give
and
in.
red dragon there.
We all knew what we were.
What the hell? Why? Also, that definitely looked like a female black elf. Oh, it so looked like a female black elf. Creative liberties they took lots of. Changing to Wild Hunt. Boy. And during the Battle of Cameron, and during On Thin Ice, in total, 750 male elves spawn in to fight you. And yet, what were we told in the novels? There are fewer than 100 male elves total across all species of elves in the universe, including the Enche, the Undawn, and the Anel. They were almost extinct. They didn't have massive hordes of armies of
By
elves.
order of the Emperor of Nilfgaard, for the murder of the wounded, looting,
They
cannibalism,
also
you
didn't
are hereby
have
sentenced.
swords. They were kind of like Native Americans. They wore buckskin furs and carried crossbows. Humans considered them savages because of it.
And seek further clues of Ciri's whereabouts. The fluid Hermione, however, had no intention of letting Yennefer examine the woods.
What are you doing?
Geralt and Yen sought out Jarl Kraken Kricht, who helped break down the druid's resolve.
Rascals getting into stuff. Right there. No? There it goes. He's a feral cat, or he used to be a feral cat. Oh, I can't see that without my glasses on. So he does these weird territorial things if there's somebody here. And one of my brothers stays here on weekends. So he's not here all the time, but he's here on weekends. So he's here right now. So Rascal has to run through the house and tear things apart to show off that this is my territory and these are all my spots. And it's behavior that you don't see in most domestic cats. He's been a domestic cat for 14 years now. But he still has this territorial nature in him because he used to be a feral cat.
It had destroyed a vast swath of forest. Geralt set out for the Isles to join the sorcerers and seek further clues of Ciri's whereabouts. The druid Ermion, however,
Feral cats are quite different from regular domestic cats with how they act.
who helped break down the druid's resolve.
Yes, you! You coming up? There you are. Alright. We're gonna have to go through, get a cat tucked in again, right? You gonna sit down? Right now I can't do anything because you're standing on my hand. Ooh. There we go. You getting back down? Alright, you run uphill. I didn't think you looked like you were going to be uphill.
For a walk. Or is that not allowed either? Because I could break my leg.
If you pay attention when Ciri says that, watch how Avallac'h reacts to that. As soon as she mentions breaking a leg, I've seen people when they get to that scene, they're like, he's getting really pushy here. We're gonna have to deal with him. And then all of a sudden she says that, and he just backs off really fast. And they're like, what the fuck? What just happened to him? What? Why? I thought we were gonna have to do something. Why'd he stop? Mentioning breaking the leg is what made him stop. Because there's a scene in the novels where, like what that scene there, they started fighting really bad. Ciri broke his legs. She turned on him fast. Why he can walk in the game, I don't know, because we were told he was never able to walk again. He couldn't walk after that. He broke his legs really bad. He didn't recover from it. So who knows why he can walk in the game. But that's why when she mentions a broken leg, all of a sudden he backs down really fast. If you've read the novels, you know that. But most people who get to that scene in the game, they haven't read the novels, so they don't realize why is he backing off. Because what information you're given in the game, there isn't enough information in the game to tell you why he backed off in that scene. It's one of those things where if you haven't read the novels, you really don't know what's going on. Fortunately, there's a lot of stuff like that in the game. There is so much stuff that happens in the game, and you see people who are playing the game and they're like, what's going on? Did I miss something? No, you didn't miss something. You just didn't read the novels. The game developers assume you read the novels before you played the game, so you know what's going on. And no, no idea what's going on. Same thing with Avallac'h, his sister, who is black, and yeah, he should be black, but he's an albino. He's the only white elf because he's an albino.
So I must believe you've put
And
equal effort into preparing.
the novels likes to tell you that. You rarely are going to see the word Avallac'h in the novels. It shows up once when he tells you his name. It shows up a second time when he tells you his name again. It shows up a third time when Aradin is picking on him, and it shows up a fourth time when Ciri's apologizing for nearly killing him. Other than that, you get the only white elf, the only blue-eyed elf, the only blonde elf. Blah, 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 said the only white elf. It emphasizes only white elf over and over and over and over and over and over. Andrzej Sapkowski really wanted you to know he was the only white elf. Only one. And another one. Just this one. Only one. The elves had black skin in the novels. One of the times you see Ciri and Avallac'h fighting, it's one of their bigger fights. It's because they're horseback riding. Avallac'h wanders off by the lake, doing who the hell knows what. So he's away from Ciri for a few minutes. And Ciri takes the opportunity to turn around at the 5 favorite wives who go with Avallac'h everywhere, who are just standing there doing whatever the hell they're doing. We don't know what they're doing, they're just there. Doesn't tell us. She starts calling them monkeys. You black-skinned monkeys, you all look alike. Ciri's a racist pig. She makes a big issue out of it. A really big issue out of it. To the point that the wives go to Avallac'h, expected him to break this fight up because they're all upset that this little white-ass snob is calling them monkeys and saying they all look alike because they have black skin. Ciri hates black people, something you're going to learn really quickly when you're reading the novels. He's really bad. Oh, so bad that if you are black, you are going to want to shoot Ciri so many times over the course of reading the novels. It's really bad. You'll be praying to go read something as not racist, like Huckleberry Finn. It is really bad. On extreme levels. And the wives go over to Avallac'h and try to get him to, they're telling him she's calling us, she's calling us monkeys, she's saying we all look alike, and he gives the wives hell. Basically tells them that this is your head wife over here, you take orders from her now. Yeah, Ciri at some point is now Avallac'h's wife. That we are told that several times. Yes, there is cheese in that dish. I forgot there was cheese over there. Go up there. You stay up there. But then you get to the game. Avallac'h is one of those 5 favorite wives that is in that scene. You get to the game, and what do you see? Avallac'h has white skin in the game. Who the hell knows why? But with Ciri breaking and entering, kills the bodyguard, breaks into the house, is now threatening to kill the wife of the man she raped and tried to kill earlier. Lots of federal offenses going on there in that scene while you're at Avallac'h. Vandalism as well. So, the first thing that happens after you get done breaking and entering and killing the bodyguards. You! I remember you. Funny, I thought those of our kind all looked alike to you. And everybody goes, oh my god, she is such a bitch. No, if you've read the novels, you know Ciri is a bitch and you really want to cut her head off because she is, oh my god, a racist on such extreme levels. And in the novels, Avallac'h had black skin. And Ciri called her a monkey and said that she looked like everybody else who had black skin. She couldn't tell them apart. And so that's another scene where if you haven't read the novels, you don't know what's going on. The game developers put a lot of those in there where, hey, yeah, here's this character. She's talking about something from the novels and you know, obviously you read the novels because you're playing the game, so you must have read the novels. So we're not going to tell you the backstory behind the fact that, oh, this character we decided to make white, who was black in the novels, and Ciri was saying all this stuff about her, and now she's responding to it. Yeah. They should have put more information in the game. There is not enough information in the game to tell you what that is referencing if you haven't read the novels. Also, the only reason Ciri stays with Avallac'h is because Eredin has black skin and Avallac'h has white skin. And Eredin is accused of killing Oberon by Ciri. All the evidence points to the fact that Avallac'h killed Oberon. We don't know who killed Oberon, but all the evidence that we are given in the novels points to the fact that Avallac'h did it. However, Ciri sides with Avallac'h because she says only a black person would kill someone. A white person would never commit murder. Really? And she ends that by saying, Avallac'h is as good as he is white. Eredin is as evil as he is black. Then she has a rant that goes on for 5 full paragraphs on why Eredin is evil because he has black hair, he has black skin, he has black eyes. She goes into this whole big thing about black is evil. Everyone who has black skin is evil. It is one of the vilest things I have ever read. That's Ciri giving her reasons why she's siding with Avallac'h when Oberon dies. Because Avallac'h has white skin and he's the only white-skinned elf, and they make a really big issue of the fact that he is the only elf with white skin. All the other elves must therefore be evil because they all have black skin, and she says Eredin is the blackest black person she has ever seen, and therefore he must be the evilest person there is. Ciri is a filthy racist pig, oh my god! Like I said, Huckleberry Finn isn't as racist as Ciri. Oh, it gets so bad. Some of the stuff that you see with the racism, the extreme anti-black racism that goes on in the Witcher novels, it is horrifying. The problem with the Witcher novels and the racism in it is most novels, when you run into racism, it's the author pointing out, hey, racism is bad. That's not the case in Andrzej Sapkowski. He hates black people in real life, and he's very much pointing out, yeah, black people are bad. Look, I'm going to make sure you know it by how much black people are bad in my novels. You
must face him on your terms.
It's one of those things where I'm like,
it's your only chance.
Boys, Andrzej Sapkowski gets some issues. Really bad ones. There have been people who debated this whole... Was he making a point about racism? But then there's interviews with him Oh, I don't know whether to recommend you watch their interviews with him or run screaming from them. Wow, is he a dick. The author is, oh, not nice. Bad racism issues with him. So you only have to watch a couple of interviews with him before you realize, yeah, no, he wasn't making a point that racism is bad. He was making a point that he really hates black people. A lot. It's one of those things where there are people who boycott the Witcher series because of the racism in it, and I can see why they do. Yeah, I agree with them. It's one of those things where I'm conflicted because it's a really good story, but then you have stuff like that in it, and it's like, that stuff doesn't need to be in it. That stuff shouldn't have been in it. If it had been in it to point out, racism is bad, here's why racism is bad, but that's not why it was in it. It was in it to point out, yeah, black people are evil, don't get near black people, and it's like, that's a horrible thing to have as a message, and that is what the message is. The Witcher series is one of those ones where I can't recommend it to everybody because I know there are too many people who are sensitive snowflakes who are going to be, so pissed off, so bad, because those types of things against black people in it are probably the least offensive things you're going to run into. There's worse. Wait till you run into the kill your gays stereotype that runs screaming through the Witcher novels. Really bad. Avallac'h is a boy. You can find reasons to hate him if you're somebody who's pro-abortion, because he's considered a hero. You know why he's considered a hero? He goes out every night to find abortion clinics for rescuing babies. His whole thing is babies. He is all about babies. He is the abortion bitch killing vigilante who rescues babies. The game doesn't tell you that about him. Not at all. I've had people ask, why did you add this rope to his belt? Well, he had rope in the novels. He always had rope in the novels. In case he found somebody who had an abortion or was getting ready to have an abortion, because he strangled them to death. That's what he did. He rescued babies, and that you do anything to hurt babies on any level, he was going to kill you. A lot of people, that's why I said a lot of people hate him, and they get to that those scenes with him, there's two of them, they get to those scenes with him and they're like, oh my god, he's evil, but the novels doesn't tell you that. The novels tell you, very specifically, that he is the most good person, the most holy person, and the most righteous person in the universe, and that he's never shed innocent blood. And yet we are shown what Ciri describes as tens of thousands of dead women in a ravine that he has killed because they've had abortions. Yet he's never shed innocent blood. That we're told that. There's a lot of stuff like that in the novels. That's why I said the story is really good. It is an insanely good story. There's things that are really gonna step on your toes, so yeah, there's a lot of them. if you're black, if you're gay, and if you're pro-abortion, you really shouldn't read the Witcher novels because you are going to run into so much that is going to hit you in the face and you're going to want to just run off and kill everybody. It's when people say, I've seen a lot of people, when a lot of streamers will say, I started reading the Witcher novels and I didn't realize how political they were. And then people in their chat will be like, oh, well, I love political fantasy. I love Game of Thrones. And the stream will be like, no, it's not that type of political. It's not political fantasy. It's political ranting. It's political manifestos. And their chat just doesn't get it. They're trying to explain it, and their chat doesn't get it. And then later you'll see people who will then show up in that same streamer's chat, and they're like, oh my god, I started reading the Witcher novels because I thought it was going to be like Game of Thrones. I thought it was going to be political fantasy. I get it now. I realize what you meant when you said it's political. Yeah, it's political as in President Trump screaming across Twitter type political.
Damn it.
Andrzej Sapkowski has a lot of political things that he wanted to get out there, and he used the Witcher novels to get it out there. That's why a lot of people hate the novels. You see so many people who play the game, and they love the game, and then they go and read the novels, and then they're like, oh my god, I can't finish this game. I didn't realize how horrible the novels were. I can't support this. I absolutely am not going to support it, so I'm not going to finish the game. You see so damn many people who don't finish the game because they started reading the novels. And, yeah. I'm the founder of the Park and Gamble Club. Didn't know that. So I like political stuff, and I'm known for writing very, very political, ranty, manifesto type stuff. That's why when my brother read the Witcher novels, then he recommended them to me. He's like, you're gonna love this. He said, it's all political stuff. He was trying, I can't stand fantasy. I hate fantasy. I hate stuff like Lord of the Rings. I absolutely can't stand books like Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. I hate them so bad. I hate fantasy novels. I can't stand them. So my brother's trying to recommend fantasy novels to me. I don't read fantasy. I can't stand fantasy. And he's like, no, this isn't fantasy. The Witcher is not fantasy. This is political stuff. You're gonna love this. Yeah. He was right. It's extremely political stuff with elves and gnomes and dwarves as characters, and I pity all these people who are watching the Netflix series and saying, oh my god, this is so much like Game of Thrones. This is so much like Lord of the Rings. I must go read the novels because they are going to be disappointed on such huge levels when they read the novels. The game and the Netflix series both did the same thing. They tried to strip a literary drama of all its manifesto ranting and squash it into a Lord of the Rings costume. Which, you know, works for the game, it works for the Netflix series, but then people want to read the novels, and then they're like, well, I wanted to read fantasy. Yeah, I wish somebody would make a game that was the novels. Both the game and the Netflix series are an insane amount of false advertising for the novels. It's one of those things where I would say, don't judge the novel by its game. Don't judge the novel by its TV show. Don't judge the novel by its movie type of thing. There is so little of the novels in the game. There is so little of the novels in the Netflix series. If you're a huge fan of the game, if you're a huge fan of the Netflix series, chances are really high you're gonna hate the novels. The game is false advertising for what the novels is. The Netflix series is false advertising for what the novels is. You fighting with more wolves. You are fighting with more wolves. Oh. Okay. They all dead? They must be all dead. Kills is coming back. Getting into territory where there's wolves. Well, we have wolves throughout companions. It is so confusing for my brain. If I had the HUD turned on, they have their names over their heads. And the travel companion names, it'll say White Wolf Alpha, White Wolf. What does it say? There's 3 different ones. It's White Wolf Alpha, White Wolf, and I can't remember what the other one is. I know it's 3 different ones. But they'll be in green over the travel companion head.
I see I've touched a tender spot.
And the enemies, it'll
let's
say the
change
same
the
thing,
subject.
but it'll be red over the
Care for a
enemies.
drink?
But because we have the HUD turned off, we're not seeing the names of them. And we can't tell which one's which when we're in combat. What could we do? There's gotta be something we could do in the texture files. Because we can add additional texture files. We can add additional texture files to the wolves. Same way we did when we added more clothes for Ciri, where we can scroll down through and Ciri has 100+ different clothes that we can switch out. I don't have that mod on right now, so I can't show you it. Got a different mod for Ciri on right now. Oh, I know. I can show you what the tigers do. Not tigers. The panther kittens. The panther kittens are black panthers. Yeah, right there. Panther kitten. The panther kitten is a black panther in the game. But then I added the ability to have it also as a leopard, or a mountain lion, or a spirit cat, or the magic panther, which looks almost identical to that. How are you different? Yeah, you're only slightly different. You've only got like a change in your shadow. Yeah, it's only got like a change in its shadow. It's very slightly. Your eyes different color too. The eyes are a different color. Okay. But yeah, I can do something like that where we change the color of the wolf. Make one that is unique, that we only have as a travel companion. That was the reason we stopped having the wolves with us before. I remember now. Although, why did we stop? I couldn't remember. Why did we stop having the wolves with us? Because we did like having the wolves with us. It's when we get into an area where there are a lot of wolves. And we can't, it makes combat difficult and we end up dying because we get killed by wolves and we don't realize it's not our travel companion. I'm just following Ciri. I can't see what she's fighting. What I would like to do...
Nothing you need worry about.
The same way there is a big panther file and a little panther file, make a little wolf file. And then make a texture file so it looks like a fox instead. And have foxes with us. Foxes and ocelots. That's what should be traveling with us. That would require making a DLC, which we can do. That's the thing, we've been able to do that, but getting them to load as travel companions, that's the issue. We haven't been able to get it add to the travel companion mod. If it's a WEN file that's already in the game, it'll add to the travel companion. But when it's a WEN file that's added into a DLC, a mod that puts it separate, then it won't. There's got to be a way to do that. I must be doing something wrong. The problem with changing the size of the 3D model, there isn't a small wolf file in the game already. So changing the size of the 3D model ain't an issue. The issue is getting that 3D model to then load in the game and have it load as a travel companion. That's the issue. It's not that difficult to change the 3D model, make a new character by shrinking the 3D model and making a DLC to then spawn in that character. The issue is getting it to load in the MCM mod. That wolf right there, right in front of us, you can see his mesh points.
Repeat it.
When the way he was just standing in, directly in front of us there. You can't always see it. It's when he's... Yeah, you don't see it when he's moving around. It's when he stops and he's standing in front of us, then you can see it. You only see it on the white wolf, but it obviously it's going to affect all of the wolves because it's all one 3D model. But you only see it on the white wolf because of the gray shadow underneath the white fur makes it stand out. That's an error in the 3D model is what that is. The only way to fix that, you'd have to open up the 3D model. They did not make it easy to edit the 3D models. They made the 3D models with Maya. So you should just be able to open them and edit them.
But I won't allow it. Far too great a risk.
They've got a redirect thing in the code. They changed the name of the file to, what is it? They changed the name of the file. It's unique to the Witcher game. So then you can't open it. You have to create a bat file. .bat for every single 3D model in order to open it. Once you get it open, it's just, you know, standard edit in a 3D model. The actual opening the file is the part that's an issue. Real reason why they did that. It was just one of those things to say, hey, I have a high IQ. I made a new file that doesn't exist in anything else. Look at this file type. It's unique to us. Games that are sensible, the game developers don't do that. Game developers who are arrogant, that's what they do. For no reason other than to say, hey look, I knew how to. Okay. We're probably getting close to being overburdened, aren't we? Hey, look! We're overburdened right when I said it. Okay. Yes. For some reason, I've gotten good at estimating how many things we can pick up before we're overburdened. That's weird. Horses nearby. These bandit files aren't edited yet. I can tell. So what type of bandits are you guys? The Skellige Pirates, right? I didn't edit the Skellige Pirate files yet, did I? I don't think I did. You have a box here. Is it an exploding barrel or is it a box? Looks like an exploding barrel. We're on top of the cave now, right? Okay. Yeah. Yes, these guys are doing that whole dropping 4 or 5 armor pieces, chest armor pieces. And that's that annoys me. Yeah, this guy dropped 2 pairs of boots. 2 pairs of boots isn't that illogical. I mean, he could be wearing a pair and carrying a second pair because he's on his way to give them to some guy he knows that needed a new pair or something like that. You could explain the fact of carrying 2 pairs of boots, but really carrying 5 big, giant, heavy pieces of chest armor? And that's a time-consuming thing to fix, which I didn't realize until I opened up the looting files. There are over 5,000 characters in the game. Every single one of them has their own file. And they all go back to one generic XML file titled Generic Body Everywhere. So in order to make it so every single bandit, every single monster,
Emir is a pragmatist, Ciri an idealist.
everyone drops unique loot and only drops 1 chest armor, 1 pair of boots, 1 sword. You have to create a new XML file for each one of them. All 5,000 of them. At the moment, we have 193 new XML files. Only a little over 4,000 left to go. So, obviously Skellige pirates are ones that we haven't gotten to yet because we just picked up 5 chest armor pieces off of 1 guy back there, which is ridiculous, but it's what we did. We're overburdened again. What? This is weird.
Pre-Vanish Bane, Corman Maka, and the Witcher of Rivia. Kevin.
Yeah, his name's spelled Karaman, and Gil's is pronounced Corman. Something's attacking? What's attacking? Really didn't like us taking your Begatech. know why Gales hasn't died yet. He stayed too close to us. You guys are just spotted at the opposite ends of the boat. We don't get time to get to the end of the boat before the other one has spawned in. Yep, that's what you're doing. Done. And Gwen went down. Surprise kills is staying alive through this. Kills is usually the first travel companion to die when we get attacked by cows. I wasn't planning to fight with these guys. I just saw a box to loot and forgot we shouldn't do that in front of guys. There's finally no more spawned in on the boat?
Should he call for reinforcements? No NL.
There's a dead Russian around here somewhere. Why are you attacking us again? What you guys have done? Wow, you're attacking from way up there? I can't reach you up there.
I must admit, you appearing here quite a surprise.
Kills continues bitching while this is going on. drink.
Did you sever his head? Head of a giant on your mount. Heard it was still beating on that's a decoration.
We need to meditate. Have you ever seen a dog with this type of
You drink last night too?
algae growing on it? You can't stand up on, does it? Oh, if it's wet enough to have one of those for a night. Who shouldn't ask that? Those same guys way up top there, right? Okay. We need to meditate. She's just not going to be able to fight.
Hide that before you hurt yourself.
I believe we're done for the day, my tulip. Be it.
Still those guys up top. Can we loot more boxes? We can loot more boxes. Loot more boxes.
Watch it. Come here.
The guys who stand there cheering are the ones that fascinate me. Why? Why?
Come on.
Stop attacking yourself. Why did they just stand there cheering? Why is he doing that? Now it won't do anything. Oxy is weird.
Who would have saved yours then?
That was the pyramid. Well, there goes girls. Ah, did Oxy just kill him? It's those guys up there to keep shooting at us. quite a ways up there, aren't they? Up there. Yep. Actually, bandits too. What? What? Why are you? Can't climb while combat music's on, right? Yeah, can't climb while combat music's on. So, I can walk all the way around.
So we must go east.
I think you have to hit this. That's okay, you can climb.
Avallac'h claims vanity is Imlerith's greatest weakness.
Says the guy with tens of thousands of mirrors. Who had an absolute total meltdown when Ciri started breaking the mirrors. You have to wonder, what pisses Avallac'h off more? Saying something bad about Laura Darren? Or breaking mirrors? Because that's what flipped him out. Those are the two things that flipped him out. Gunter Din doesn't exist in the novels. Masked Mirror does, huh? Avallac'h. Definitely the wrong person to say that to. I think he could keep his hands off anything. Which, I've known people like that, and I can't stand it. That is something I don't like about Avallac'h. He has a problem with that. Really big problem with that. He touches everyone. Constantly. If you're near him, he's touching you. It doesn't matter who you are, he's just constantly gonna touch everyone. We run around the corners too fast and our horse goes right over the fence.
I recognize your type a mile away.
Where's that road go? Oh, that goes back up to where we were yesterday, right? Valhalla? Yeah, okay. That's where that goes. Goes this way.
You saved us from the giant.
Did we though? Alright, the giant was on Udvike. He wasn't over here. And nobody lives on Udvike. What are you fighting with? Those Skurvers? Again? We just had Skurvers already. It was Skurvers. I guess it wants to throw Skurvers at us today. It's one we don't see very often. That's the second time we've seen it today. So why is Rotfiend blood purple? When they blow up, you can clearly see that their blood is red. So why is it purple in the icon? Does that mean we should change their blood special effects to purple? Could we change just their blood special effects? I'm pretty sure we can. Because don't they have a separate blood file? I just saw it last night. I know they did. There is an exploding Rotfiend blood file. It's not hard to change the color of the blood in the game. Obviously, the blood in the game is red now. It's not red in the vanilla game. That's funny. I've had so many people ask about that. That's one of the really common questions. Did you add blood to your game? I don't remember blood in my game. No, I just changed the color from a dark black brown color that looks nothing like blood to bright red. All I did was change the color. Just as much blood as there was in the vanilla game, it just shows up more now. Just that one. Dead things over here. You must have died at the same time as the Rotfiends. Was it more Rotfiends? Skurvers? Can't tell. Yep. More here. Okay. I have such a hard time seeing through this snow. It actually sounds like it's turning to snow out there. Rain and snow sound quite different. The wind has picked up a lot. The wind has gotten louder. I can hear the wind quite a lot tonight. We supposedly have a blizzard happening, but it's around 40 degrees, so it's raining instead of snowing. Bit weirdness happening outside. I don't know how you would explain this weird weather we have. Reminds me every time I see snow in the game how much not snow that we have had this year. Northern Maine is not the same. They're getting dumped on up there. They're getting dumped on enough that's been in news reports and stuff. Their houses are being buried. We could do the same thing here because we are getting the precipitation. It's just snow, not snow, it's rain. For some weird reason, we've got a warm air pocket trapped in the Gulf of Maine, according to one of the weather bureaus. So when the snow is hitting the rest of the state, right on the coast in the horseshoe, we're getting dumped on with rain. I don't know anything about weather and weather patterns. I don't know what's causing it. Other than what the weatherman says. This is another thing that people complain about. What I did to the trees and the fact that pine trees shouldn't be like this. You've never seen a dead pine forest then. There's a plague running through Maine right now, and this is what the pine trees look like now. Our extremely green state is right now extremely brown. But in the novels, we were told the plants were all dying, the trees were all dying, there's a massive famine going over the world. Witcher universe world, the whole world is just dying. Most of the animals have already died, there's almost no livestock left, there's almost no wildlife left. Cannibalism is the norm because there is almost no vegetation left. All the plants and trees have died. And then you get to the game and you get this nice, lush, green world, which looks great, but is so not lore friendly. The world is dying.
And if my breast needed smearing with fox tallow?
I made the world die like it wasn't enough. One of the many things that I find laughable that pisses people off. That's one thing I have learned from modding this game. There are a lot of people, they don't like it if you mod the game. They're like, no, it's gonna be this way. Can't have mods. Okay. I can't get arms. Guess we just have defense. But we're near Wild Shore, aren't we? That should be this way, yes? a little bit from it, but it's right about ahead of us. There's a question mark we missed. How did we miss a question mark?
What of it?
We could check and see if the question marks are reloading. We've seen one reload, but I don't know if they're all one file or not. I was trying to figure out the other day, what is their file?
Exquisite irony, but what did I do?
Because we want them reloading.
Have I given you cause to doubt my intentions?
I like swimming out to the question marks. I know what people hate. I'm amazed that about 90% of the stuff I like best about this game is all the things the average person hates about this game. I'm also amazed at how many people are bullheaded and obnoxious enough to contact me and tell me, I hate this and this and this and this, and you're a terrible person because I hate all these things and you're doing them. Okay. Go shoot yourself for me, please. I don't want to hear it. Do these people realize how annoyingly obnoxious they are when they do that? You really have nothing better to do than to contact somebody who's doing something that they hate to tell them they hate it? What the hell? I don't understand that at all. It is so bizarre. I think the craziest ones are the ones that have showed up at my house to tell me. One showed up with a gun. There's a bullet hole in my front door. Because I'm playing as Avallac'h, who was his guy who is fucking his waifu. Ciri's a fictional character. You get some issues. Definitely the most bizarre one I've ever heard. Most of the people that rave and rant, my assumption is automatically, you're 8 years old and your parents spared the rod too much. But that guy was 31 years old according to the police. Because, obviously he got arrested. We found buckthorn. I forgot to say I had buckthorn. So. We'll swim out and look for those boxes after we did buckthorn. We always go back to the same areas for buckthorn, and we always forget about all these other areas that also have buckthorn, like this one. Lack of manners. That's it. I think that's the thing that amazes me most about these people. Is that they have absolute no manners whatsoever. Clearly their parents don't give a shit about them. You care about your kids, you teach them to have manners and be respectful. If you're running around like psychotic jackasses all over Twitch chat, clearly your parents don't give a shit about you. I wonder what they teach in school. But manners and etiquette used to be a thing you were required to be taught in school. The 70s weren't that long ago. Clearly they don't teach manners and etiquette in school anymore. You know, the scariest plot, because I have looked up the ISBN number of the bulk of the people who did this stuff, and most of them are 9, 10, 12 years old. Most of them are too young to have Twitch accounts at all, so who the hell knows why they're in Twitch chat. But the scary thing is, in a few years, those psychotic brats are gonna be old enough to have government jobs and be running various government positions throughout the world. That's horrifying. Can you imagine? Millions of Trumps all over the planet? All of them being obnoxious jackasses? There's another girl. Almost a Witcher exclusive channel. She plays Witcher more than anything else. Every time she plays Witcher, she has to turn her chat off. Same reason. She's a huge Yennefer fan, so she always does Yennefer playthroughs. Anybody who is a Triss Marigold fan goes absolutely psychotic meltdown in her chat. She has 3 million followers, so when her chat goes psychotic meltdown, oh, it's bad. She's got more than 100 mods and they can't keep it under control. I don't know, I used to be amazed at the crazy things you used to see go on anytime anybody streamed Undertale, Five Nights at Freddy, or did anything with Homestruck. I hardly ever see anybody do Homestruck. It's a text, kind of a pen and paper online game. It's an old game. It's a really old game. It's a DOS game. The Wild Witcher fans, boy, did they get them beat. I don't think it's actually anything about the games themselves as much as it is the age group. It's like they're a wild pack of rabid wolves and they're just looking for something to kill, So they roam from one thing to another. Facebook's one of the worst places for it, too. I stopped using Facebook in 2013. Still have a Facebook account. I didn't shut it down, but I haven't used it in years. I know a lot of people blame it on the internet itself, and I'm like, I don't think the internet's the problem. I think the problem is we're seeing parents give their kids tablets and smartphones when they should be giving them pacifiers in bottles, and letting that raise them. I would be a nightmare as a social worker. I would have so many kids out of their houses. Any parent that gives their child a smartphone or a tablet, I would have their kid taken away on that ground alone. It's just another form of neglect. If you want to know why that tisses me off so much, Google the news reports. The FBI raid I was rescued out of, along with 140 other children, was classified as the worst child abuse case in American history. I grew up with horrific child abusers. The wild hostility you see in places like Facebook and Tumblr and now Twitch chat. Most of it is just kids lashing out because they desperately want their parents to pay attention to them. I mean, that really is all it is. These kids are so desperately, horribly neglected that the only way they can get attention is to lash out online and hope somebody notices, because their parents haven't noticed them in years. That's sad. When you look at how many kids are online doing that, that's a hell of a lot of neglectful parents. I think we might have gotten all the bugs on. I'm not seeing more. Alright, where were we going before that interrupted us? Right there. Wow, we're almost done. And sunset has happened. It is now nighttime, meaning sirens should be back. And we don't have our crossbow active. We should correct that. Crossbow. Okay. Since one hit from a siren usually kills it. We are very deep, aren't we? It's taking a long time to get to the surface. We got a storm and choppiness. And we're going the right way still, which we aren't yet. Get turned around, so we should be able to see it. If we can't see it, we're not going the right way. That's one of my favorite details in this game, as annoying and horrible as it is to play the game against it. The current actually changes your direction, and if you're not constantly checking the map, you get turned around so bad, so fast, because the water pushes you. If you just stop like this, and just stay here, and just do nothing, I did that once. I got up to answer the phone or something? And so I didn't have time to pause the game and put an intermission on it. I stopped. And when I came back, it had moved us so far and turned us around so much because of the current. And there's two of them. We want this one over here. It is now pouring rain again. Okay. It's going back and forth between rain and snow, and for a while it was hail. We have got wild weather happening out there. Bad visibility in the game. I can see it. There it is. And no sirens. Hi, Rask, you back? Yeah, you're stopping to look? Okay. Okay, you are relooting. So you know what we have to do? We have to find every single one that we have already looted and check all of them. These aren't supposed to reloot. I made a mod to make them reloot. Thing is, I don't know if I found all the files. And that's what we need to check. We need to check every single file. Do you only have 2? Boy, is it hard to see under the water here. Looks like you only have 2. Most of them have 3. You only have 2. Okay. There's another one nearby that we just was almost at. There's 3 nearby. We want to head to that one too, because somehow we missed one. Well, I guess we're going to be swimming a while. That's what Nora now doing. Another one of the top complaints. Number 3 most complained about thing I do. Swimming. I swim too much. It always reminds me, every time somebody complains that you swim too much in this game, always reminds me, we should go back and play Subnautica again. I've played Subnautica 3 times now, and we've never gotten to the end of it, because we do this. We just say, okay, let's go swimming. 170 hours of swimming later, we're like, we should probably play the game. Do the main story. Oh, you think I swim too much in this game? And then the Cyclops, which is, if you don't know the game, that's the name of you build submarines over the course of the game. You little submarine, a bigger submarine, and the Cyclops is a really big submarine. It's basically a full-size submarine. As you end up with the Cyclops, this big submarine, and you're supposed to, dive down and go exploring, and was it my first playthrough? It was my first playthrough of Subnautica, which is when it was still in alpha. And I had watched, while we were building the same week where we was building Cyclops, I watched an Eddie Izzard video. Which one is it? I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember which thing he does on which video now. But it's the one where he's talking about Noah's Ark. And he starts talking about how, they made a movie with Noah's Ark and all this stuff, and Eddie's like, could you imagine how much better it would have been if they had Sean Connery play Noah? Hi, Ross. We completely swam by that. Let's turn around and swim back to it. He started talking about Sean Connery as Noah. And then he started talking about, he went from there to James Bond. Sean Connery as James Bond as Noah. And he started talking about how it wouldn't have been an ark. It would have been a giant speedboat. And he said it would have been 2x2 animals in the boat. They would have been 2x2 with all the ones with the long floppy ears along the edge, so we could get good pictures of them with their ears blowing in the wind. And he kept going and going, and I was like, it reminded me, because we were in the middle of building the Cyclops, right? Subnautica. I started thinking, can we turn the Cyclops into a speedboat? Yes, you can. And we did. That was where my brain went. We painted it pink. When we finally built the Cyclops, it was bright pink. And then there's these jellyfish you can get in the game. And if you want to lift a heavy item, you take one of these jellyfish because they float. You take one because they're filled with air and they float. You take these jellyfish and you stick them on big rocks. So you can move giant rocks in the game if you want to move a giant rock somewhere. You stick jellyfish all over it and the rock will float up and you can push it along. I was like, what if we take all of these jellyfish and we stick them all over our Cyclops? So that's what I did. We stuck jellyfish all over the Cyclops. Now we can't submerge. Our submarine no longer submerges. We spent hours in the game, like 50, 60 hours, doing nothing but cruising around like we were a speedboat across the top of the water in a submarine that was bright pink and covered with these giant jellyfish. Because that's how we play games. Not the way you're supposed to. We find things to do that are just not how you're supposed to play the game. There's not much you can do above ground, above water in Subnautica, but after we stuck our little floaty jellyfish all over our Cyclops and painted it pink, we were able to just cruise around in our speedboat instead of our submarine. The ghost Leviathan ate our pink Cyclops. We spin boat around the wrong side of the Aurora. I don't know how we lived through that. It is so hard to see the ghost Leviathan on the back side of the Aurora and live through it. You see people when they play Subnautica and they get to that point. And everybody in their chat, most people, if they're doing a blind playthrough, they don't know that's there. Everybody in their chat's like, swim over there, there's something great over there. Half the chat's going, make sure you save first. Oh yeah, there's something great over there, a heart attack waiting to eat you. And so many people get terrified and they can't go back to play the game after that. The funny thing is that we had already encountered that several times, so you never knew it was there. It just, my brain didn't register. Oh yeah, we shouldn't go over there. That thing's gonna kill us. We'd never gone over there with the Cyclops before, though. We always went over with the sea moth. Yeah, always killed the sea moth. We had lots of little sea moths. Keep rebuilding our sea moth. Didn't know they could destroy the Cyclops. You know how I hoard stuff in my stash because we loot like crazy in this game? I had lined the entire inside of Cyclops with all the cabinets all the way down. We had so much stash, so much loot that we're never going to use because we're never going to use that much loot in Subnautica. Looting obsession went crazy with Subnautica and all our loot there gone. Because Leviathan destroyed the Cyclops. I think you could go. I still have that save file too somewhere, so you could probably go back and try to pick up all that loot. I don't know how you could though, because Ghost Leviathan is still gonna be there. So as soon as you try to pick up loot, it's just gonna kill you. When you die, you respawn back elsewhere, and wherever you died, you can swim back there or go back on one of your submarines or whatever. You can go back there and the loot will still be there. Your broken ship will still be there. It's all smashed up and broken, but it'll still be there. So if you smash up a sea moth, if something kills your sea moth, you can go back there and you can find the sea moth, but chances are high you won't be able to repair it enough to get it back. Depends on how badly it was damaged. If it's under 30% damage, you probably can't get it back. But if it's more than less than over 30%, between 0 and 30%. If it's 30% to 100%, still usable. You can probably limp back to dry land. Not dry land. There isn't hardly any dry land. Limp back to your base camp and fix it. Subnautica ranks high as one of my favorite games. It's up here with Witcher 3, one of the best games I've played. Possibly third place. After I classify Witcher 3 and Witcher 1 together. Because I play Witcher 1 as much as Witcher 3. You are attempting to attack us. Oh, I see more came down. That's not nice. I have a question mark over here. It is. There it is. That is still a question mark. So, he is getting tired and thirsty. We're going to have to get out of water soon. And we seem to have an island or something ahead of us. Oh, that's where I know where we are. We're near. There's a lighthouse over here. Wow, you get really close to us. They both did. I know there's more than 10. I saw 5. So is that a dead one over there? There's 3 of them? That's 4. There should be one more. There's one more. I just saw you. Where'd she go? She's quite a distance. Oh, there's another one. You were closer. Is that all of them? I can't tell if that was all or not. I can see the shadow of at least one more. I think it's 2 more. And here another one was only 2, it looks like. When we first started using the crossbow, hardly ever used it as Geralt. There's only a couple of times in the game where you're ever actually required to use it because the quest says use crossbow. So I hardly ever used it. It was... I never saw it as a viable weapon. In the first part of the first Avallac'h playthrough, we were still using swords. Because I hadn't read the novels yet, and we do see Avallac'h in the game with a sword. And I read Tower of Swallows. probably 2, maybe 3 months into the first Avallac'h playthrough. I then read Lady of the Lake right after that. Weren't both the same week. First time. Tower Swallows is the one we find out he has a massive phobia of sorts. Extreme phobia of sorts. And then Lady of the Lake, we find out, we're told he's a skilled archer. He uses crossbow. So it was about 4 months into the first Avallac'h playthrough where we came to the conclusion, you know what? It's not lore friendly for him to use a sword. It is lore friendly for him to use a crossbow. We stopped using swords. We switched over with the crossbow as the primary weapon.
Good luck.
It took forever to get used to using it. And at that point I hadn't changed the coding. I have now. But at that point I hadn't changed the coding. And I didn't realize, and you know it was there, in the vanilla game, unmodded, the crossbow auto aims. You don't have to aim at stuff because it auto aims.
Not good.
So you just aim in a general direction. You don't actually aim at it. You could be a good 50 feet off and still hit your mark. And yet, even with that, it is... Did we not do this quest? He's yapping about the quest. He just started talking about the quest. There is a quest here. We might not have done it yet. I don't remember. I have no clue. I don't know if we did that quest or not. But we got out of the water because you needed to get a drink and meditate. And then someone attacked us. So before something else attacks us, get a drink and meditate. Anyways, I didn't realize that the crossbow had an auto aim. That was
You humans
a
have
thing. No clue that was a thing. And you need to meditate 6 hours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you need to get a drink again. So I added to the crossbow. One of the things that I found when editing the crossbow's code was auto aim. But we don't want auto aim. That's too easy. So I removed that. Boy, is it hard to use a crossbow without the auto aim. It's not easy to use the crossbow in this game to begin with. And I didn't realize it was auto aiming. So then remove that. Wow, was it hard to use the crossbow. If you go back and watch the VODs from the first Avallac'h playthrough, it was hell. Trying to get used to learning to use the crossbow as our primary weapon. But now I've gotten used to it. We can pretty much aim and hit anything with just a couple of shots. And I was like, why did it take me so long to learn to use this? But we're still without auto aim. We don't have the auto aim still. Just takes a huge amount of practice to get used to it, but finally get used to it. I knew enough about Witcher lore before I started playing Witcher 3, because I'd already played Witcher 1 10 or 12 times. I don't know how many times I've played it. I kept replaying it over and over again. It was the only better game I had for computers, so I ended up playing a lot. I had also Rise of Nations, Age of Mythology, all those. I had the whole set. Cleopatra, Pharaoh, Caesar. That whole set of really old survival, world-building, history-style games that had come out in the 90s. I had all of those. I still have all of those.
No.
But those
This is
are...
tech data. The time of the
They came out, what, 97,
Well, destroyed
95,
by the
97?
White
They're really old computer games. Very pixelated. So Witcher 3 was the only... Witcher 1, the first Witcher game, was the only better quality computer game I had. So that one got played a lot. Back then, I was doing console games more. Okay, and Atari, Sega Genesis, GameCube, Xbox, PlayStation 2. Yeah, these are quest wraiths, right? These are not random encounters.
ordinary spectre.
Yeah. Yeah, it's triggering him to talk about it. Okay. Oh. This quest doesn't affect
Speak for
anything
yourself.
with the main story, right? We're good to do this quest, I think. Pretty sure, yeah. Which, we have to go all the way to the lighthouse and then go back to the house app before the lighthouse, right? You have to discover that you can't get into the lighthouse before you can talk to the guy. Is that correct? Can't remember. It's been a while since we did this quest. Anyways, I'd played Witcher 1 a lot, and then played Witcher 2. And I read every single last book in the game, all the little books you collect up in the games. And there's 600 and something of them in Witcher 1. Huh. There are more books for you to collect and read in Witcher 1 than there in Witcher 3. So I had collected and read all of those. I knew enough about Witcher lore. I had not yet read the novels. But I knew enough about Witcher lore by the time I started playing Witcher 3 that I knew Geralt wasn't good at signs and magic, and he had a phobia of signs and magic. He was scared of magic. So when Witcher 3 came out and you had this whole... Igni was all of a sudden this giant blast, and Ard was a huge blast, and Quen was super protective, and... What's that?
The other one, Caranthir, is said to be secretive.
That ain't law friendly. Geralt's scared of magic. He ain't gonna be doing these spells. He's borderline got phobia issues of magic, so yeah. I did go into my first blind playthrough of this game already knowing that Geralt wasn't good at magic, had phobias with magic, and was scared of using magic, so we went straight up sword combat.
Wound on his back. He was running away.
My second playthrough is when we started going heavier in the alchemy. But it wasn't until my first Avallac'h playthrough that we went heavy into signs. That was the first time we started doing signs a lot. Just because Avallac'h's an edge. Yes, there's the house. Can we go to the house first? I hear another wraith.
Avallac'h claims vengeance is only ever satisfying when served cold. He's wrong.
That contradicts novels. Ciri was all full of vengeance and retribution and kill, 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 kill because Ciri has psychotic bloodlust on extreme levels.
Almost managed to find cover. Almost.
So she was constantly, we must do this, we must kill them, we must kill here, we must vengeance and violence, and Avallac'h was horrified by it. He absolutely couldn't stand the thought of vengeance and violence, and he called her a barbaric savage and told her to stop acting like the vile evil spawn of Kurganin that she was and be more like the daughter of Laura that she should be.
You lifted the curse.
Why doesn't he say that in the game also? He addressed her as Avallac'h. That was the name he called her, Lady of the Lake. Called her Avallac'h. And every time he did, she would say, "I'm not the Lady of the Lake. I met her when I was a child." So, he would then say, "Daughter of Laura." And she would say, "Pavada is my mother." He refused to call her Ciri. Didn't call her Zirel except when he was introducing her to Oberon, because Oberon called her Zirel. He struggled to acknowledge that she wasn't Laura. And every time he got mad at her, he called her Spawn of Kurganin.
Was he the one who punished his daughters with a hot iron? Or the one who had his own father's eyes gouged out?
That line there always reminds me of these massive arguments that you can find on Reddit. Just go to Reddit and search for it everywhere. Hundreds of them. Huge arguments that people get into over Ciri's lineage. Because you see this big, huge family tree in Avallac'h's house in the game. Yeah, you do. Why do you see that? I don't know. But you see these people going into, how many generations back is there between Ciri and Laura? Well, I don't know. Why don't you get your head out of your ass and read the novels? Because it tells you. 4. Laura died while she was pregnant. Avallac'h cut the baby out of her and ran off with it. Because he was being pursued, he hid in a nearby castle, where he found a baby in a crib. He switched the babies. The angry mob that was trying to kill Laura's baby killed the human baby, not realizing they killed the wrong baby. That baby grows up to have twins. One of those twins grows up to have Ciri's grandmother, who grows up to have Pavada, who grows up to have Ciri. It's clearly spelled out right there in the novels. There's no question of, ooh, all this long lineage that goes all over the place. How many generations? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There they are. It amazes me how many people go into these wild things that they theorize about because they played the game. And they don't bother to check the source material, which is the novels, to find out they didn't need to theorize and fight and argue. It was right there in the novels the whole time. They could have looked it up. Like the more than 7,000 people who have showed up in my chat to tell me how much hatred they have for the fact that I have Avallac'h and Ciri as a couple. Since they're married, why wouldn't they be a couple? They flip out, but, how come, why don't you just read the novels? Not only they're married in the novels, they're together on the last page. Yeah, these people who are like, oh, I'm so pissed off. Kinda need to go be pissed off at Andrzej Sapkowski. He's the one that made him a couple. Actually, Ciri and Avallac'h weren't created by Andrzej Sapkowski. They exist as one of the oldest couples in romantic literature. They were both created in 1130 for the Fisher King and his Lady Avallac'h. That's why they are the Fisher King and the Lady Avallac'h. There's another race over here somewhere. I saw it. Hey. The last one. Oh, Ciri says there's more. I wanted to go up to the lighthouse and see, could you do anything with the lighthouse first? I was trying to remember if you're supposed to do something with the lighthouse before the house. The quest tells you to go to the lighthouse. We could look in our quest things to see the instructions. But we kind of been playing the game in a more, what would you call it, intuitive? Is that how you would describe
heard any of your plans. On the day the White Fleet was to set sail,
Not sure
Gelban
how
gave
you would
Dillion a
play it.
gift. The Sun's Day.
We've been doing it as an open world exploration, so we haven't been following the quests. We've been doing the quests quite different this time because we encounter quests as we go, rather than we get this assignment, we go here, we go there, we go here, we go there. Then it tells us, oh, get the next quest, and get the next quest, and continue on. So instead of going quest to quest to quest to quest, which is the standard way this game is played, you're just exploring the world, and as we run across quests, we do it. Unless it's a main story quest, and then we just run screaming away from them because we don't want to do those. Not while we're making the mods, anyways.
Avallac'h is right. If I do nothing, humans, elves, all will face destruction.
Also not more friendly. The ironic thing is, not only does he never tell her anything like that in the novels, he doesn't tell her anything like that in the game either. So why is she blaming stuff on him that he never told her?
Supposed to?
I don't know, if I'm wandering at random around a place like this, my natural inclination would be to, oh, lighthouse, and go look at the lighthouse. I wouldn't go to the hut. Yeah, that's somebody's house. Why would I go to somebody's house? This is intuitive play style isn't exactly the right word. That's not the word I'm looking for. So that's just what my mind thought of, and it's not the right one. Exploration, curiosity, play style, I guess is what you would call this playthrough. What? I know there's a lot of raids here. And there's also a boss fight here. There's a boss fight. Which...
No time to lose. I'll tend to
Can you do the boss fight before talking to... There's a guy we got supposed to talk to. We've done stuff out of order before. There have been times where we encountered a boss fight. And we did the boss fight, and then we went back to talk to the guy, and we hadn't gotten the quest from him yet, but we already killed the boss fight, and it glitched him out. We've had that happen with me. Happened with the Shrieker. And... what was the other one? Oh, that Lamia. Yeah. Happened with Shrieker, and it happened with Lamia. I don't remember. Did it happen with the others? Where over the course of exploring the game, we ran across the boss fight and killed the boss monster, and now the game doesn't know what to do. We can't talk to the quest giver and get the quest. So I'm wondering, can we encounter this boss
Easier to pat
fight
someone on the back and hope things will work out than it is to
before
face the
talking to
truth.
the guy at the hut? Or will this quest not let us? Because it seems like it's a quest that won't let us. We did the same thing with Fyke Isle. There's a boss fight there as well. And you don't always get it, depends on how you play the game. But there's a boss fight there as well. And we got to Fyke Isle because we haven't gone to Ciri yet. We haven't talked to Ciri yet. And we haven't gotten the contract from her. It wouldn't even let us go to where the boss fight should have been. We got almost all the way to the top of the tower, and then it doesn't let us go further. We can't. That whole upper room where the Alexander, is that his name? The whole upper room, anyways. You can't even access it. Thank you. A swing can. How long have we been here? Almost 5 hours. Yeah, Vive. Can we? Yes, we can.
Symbols of a bonding. Manifestations of ill will. Focused, concentrated. So it's a curse. A curse that keeps the specters here.
Okay, so we can find out the information from the lighthouse before talking to the guy. Can we go in the lighthouse?
Supposed to?
That just said it was locked. Interesting. Okay, I know the guy gives us a key. When you talk to the guy, he gives you a key. He says he's too scared to go to the lighthouse. Here's my key, you go. Okay. I know what caused that. When the game reset back there, we had keys that we collected, and in order to spawn them in, I put add key as opposed to add item, name of particular key. It gave us all of the keys. So we've got this guy's key before we talk to him. That's what happened.
It's time.
We shouldn't have been able to come in here before talking to that guy. And can we jump down this? You're hovering, which is low friendly. He does that into levels. He had the ability to defy gravity. So, right now can't get back on the ladder for some reason. Alright,
This
go
does
down that
concern
one.
me.
Don't
These are my friends.
fall down the last one because I know it's too far. I wasn't trying to fall down that one, I was trying to get you on the ladder. And there should be a letter we can pick up. Right, can we read something over here? Did we miss it? We did miss it. It appears it's not going to let us pick up a letter. We should be able to pick up a letter.
You
here.
won't get the chance later. I shall await you by the boats, amongst the soldiers.
This is very tall up, eh? Oh, so you're very thirsty.